Hey gang, it's Will from Tested.
And it's Norm from Tested.
Norman Chan, I have an idea.
Bing!
Doesn't work with
Is
the
that
shot.
Is that an Edison light bulb?
It is not an Edison light bulb, but you know, there are still some of those burning.
Yes, I believe California, Bay Area, has one of the longest
Firehouse
running,
in Richmond?
The firehouse somewhere in the Bay Area.
It's that way.
It's like a 100-year-old light bulb. Had a birthday party and everything.
It's been in a firehouse. Somebody looked up and was like, hey, you know, that bulb's been burning for a while. Yeah. But today we're talking about the state of home automation, and specifically I've been testing smart bulbs.
All right, so home automation, we talked about this last year. These are ways to not just connect devices in your home to your phone or through a service like Internet of Things, but also just kind of giving appliances contextually aware information.
Yeah, it's the smart home is a buzzword that actually means very little right now. The thing that changed in the last couple of years is the rise of hubs like the SmartThings and the Wink that let you do a lot of the stuff that you previously would have gotten with like a really high-end alarm system or some sort of custom installed home automation thing. The stuff that you read about in like Bill Gates's books in 1995 as things he was doing to try out with his house. And now you can get those hubs. They're relatively inexpensive. They don't have a monthly fee. And then the stuff that you connect to them has also become more open and less proprietary. So there's several standards. Z-Wave and Zigbee are the two big ones that are basically wireless mesh networks that let you connect your devices to the hub and then connect that to the internet and to your smartphone or to remote controls or any number of different things. A lot of it's still really early, so it's pretty rough still. But if you want to kind of fiddle with it and tinker a little bit, you can build something that works really well. It just takes a little while to figure out the ins and outs of the software.
And one of the systems that you bought into was SmartThings.
Yeah, so the thing that I use to test all of this stuff, it's not something that, because of the connected nature to the house, and the fact that I have a wife and a child, if I start changing things and turning things on and off and switching hubs and all of a sudden things that behave predictably before start behaving unpredictably, I'll get in trouble with the missus.
Predictability is an important kind of benchmark.
Predictability is what you want.
Yeah.
You want, for example, when I walk into the bedroom with a wet kid straight from the bathtub, the light turns on. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to hit the switch. I don't have to like be in the right mode for the house. It just knows, hey, it's dark outside.
Right.
He wants the light on in here. If that stops working, my wife will get upset, and then I'll have to take out all the smart homes.
It's another thing to troubleshoot.
Exactly.
So is the new SmartThings, is there something better about it?
So at CES, Samsung and SmartThings is now owned by Samsung,
Right.
Announced a second generation version of the hub, which addresses a lot of my problems with the initial version. Mainly it has a built-in battery backup, so if your power goes out, you'll still be able to use it. I don't know if the things that you're going to connect to it are going to work or not, but you'll at least want to get status updates that, hey, the power's out of your house. It also has the ability to hook a cellular modem up to it. So if you're in a place where your internet service is spotty or unpredictable, you can connect to, say, a $10, a cheap USB dongle that'll plug into the modem, into the SmartThings hub, and let you connect whether you have broadband or not, which is actually really good. And since most people have family plans now, you can usually add that type of device for $10 or $15 a month. The last thing is that it adds Bluetooth Now, I think is what it's called. It's like a home mesh networking version of Bluetooth for connected home and presence sensors and stuff like that. There's not a lot of stuff that uses that yet, but hopefully with SmartThings rolling that out later this year, Q2, so it should be out soon. We'll see more. And the price remains the same. It's still $99. They said that they'll have an upgrade path for people who have first generation hubs, so you can just import your house into the new hub, and then if you want to use the other hub at like a vacation house or your office or something like that, you totally can.
So I presume like it's like buying an Apple TV or something for your set-top. It's something that your old stuff will still work, but every year, every couple of years, they're going to release a new hub, faster processor, more features, connect to more things, and that's presumably the type of thing that's going to happen.
I think, honestly, if it weren't for the battery backup and the cellular connection, I think that there's no reason really to upgrade from the first generation to the second generation. If you need those things, definitely spend the $99. If you don't, the first one's going to keep working. They're going to keep supporting it, presumably indefinitely. It will lack some of the newer features like the Bluetooth stuff, but nothing really uses the Bluetooth now, so you're probably okay. I don't think that there's any reason to upgrade unless, like I said, the big problem with SmartThings in the first generation is that if your internet went down, then also your lights stopped turning on and off automatically. If you had a smart lock, your door wouldn't unlock, stuff like that. So this bypasses that if you want to up your home automation game and go from stuff that's convenient and nice to stuff that's actually vital to the way you use your house.
And smart things, it's a whole ecosystem of products. We did a whole video before, so if you're interested in what the video is, what this system's about, go check that out. So that's an update on smart things. Now, for a lot of people who want to get into home automation or just smarter home devices, the easy place to get in seems to be light bulbs.
Lighting in general is the easy way to get in. The last time we did this, we talked about light boxes. So they're basically plugs that you slam into a wall outlet, and then you plug a lamp or some sort of lighting thing into that. Those are great. They're a little unwieldy. The boxes are big and kind of unsightly. It's not ideal. But if you're in an older house, then they may be the only option you have. You can also, say, convert your switches. So if you have in-wall switches for the lights in your room, you can get $50 smart connected light switches that use either Zigbee or Z-Wave. And those will let you remote control the switch, the state of the light using an application on your phone connected to SmartThings or Wink or one of those hubs.
Right.
However, if you have an older house, for example, something that doesn't have neutral wires everywhere, those switches are frequently incompatible. So you're in a situation where either you have to do a ton of rewiring, which is really expensive and involves knocking out walls and paying electricians lots of money, or you can use these guys. These are smart bulbs. So last time we talked about the Philips Hue. They were really the first connected bulbs that were widely available on the market. And they're interesting because they're RGB bulbs. So RGB LEDs, you can set them to multiple colors. You and I have both had them in our house for a long time.
Yeah, and the first generation ones were kind of their own ecosystem. You had a base station plugged into the wall. They connected to that. The base station connected to your home network, and you controlled them with the phone.
With the phone app. The Hue bulbs are technically Zigbee bulbs. They use a slightly different version of the protocol, so they're not directly compatible with stuff like SmartThings. You still have to connect the hub to SmartThings, and then the SmartThings passes commands to the hub and takes information from the state of the bulbs back. The nice thing about smart bulbs in general is that they do work based on the switch. So if you think about it, if you have one of those boxes plugged into a lamp, if you pull the dangly switch on the lamp to turn it off at the lamp side, no amount of turning the power on or off of that box is going to make the light come on.
That's right.
With a smart bulb, you plug the bulb in, and if you cycle the power, maybe 2 pulls at most, it'll turn on even if it's not supposed to be on according to the app or the smart home control device, which is actually really good. It means that, the internet's down, so I'm not getting SmartThings connected to the thing. I can just hit the switch with my arm a couple of times and the lights will come on. Which is I think much more convenient than using those external boxes, especially for lamps and stuff like that. There's a bunch of other bulbs on the market now, including some that are cheaper. The Hue bulbs, the knock against them is that they're crazy expensive. They're like $60 a piece. You can get 3 of them with a hub for $180, I think, something like that. And largely, and this is true of all smart bulbs, unless you're going to connect them to motion sensors and door sensors and stuff like that, they're not super useful.
No.
Do you use the Hue bulbs
I don't change
at all?
Colors at all.
Yeah.
I mean, they're good for illumination, but sometimes like turning them off at night, I don't like using the phone to turn off my light bulb.
It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
You want to do something like, for example, when it's time for me to put the house into nighttime mode, I just hold the button on a jawbone up, and then that sends a signal to SmartThings, and it says, oh, it's time for bed. All the lights in the house turn off except for my reading lamp by my bedside.
Right.
And like that's the ideal. That's what you want. If you have to open up the app and fiddle and dig into menus and all that, it's no good. So I tested 3 sets of bulbs this time. The Hue I think are interesting, but they're overpriced for what they are, and they're of limited use. So we're not going to talk about the original Philips Hue, but we will start with this guy. This is the Philips Hue Lux. Looks just like a traditional Hue bulb. The only difference is that it's set at a fixed color temperature, 2700 Kelvin, and it's essentially a 60 watt white only equivalent bulb. So it's soft white, 2700K. I think it's 750 lumens, and it's a really nice bulb. Like the light that comes off of it is great. I'll show you all that stuff in a minute.
All right.
The second bulb is this guy right here. This is the GE Link.
Okay.
So this is the first of the really cheap connected LED bulbs. Don't roll away, Hugh. It's again a 60 watt equivalent. I think this one is actually 800 lumens, and it's still 2700K. This is also a Zigbee, I believe a Zigbee bulb as well, yes. And then the third one is the Cree connected bulb. So this one looks weird, it's plastic. Like this shell is like hard plastic. Cree makes my favorite dumb LED bulbs.
Yep.
They're really useful, they're energy efficient, and they make light that is very analogous to the incandescent light that we all like. This is also a 2700K bulb, and I think it's actually 815 lumens. All 3 of these are dimmable. using software. You can't obviously use like three-way dimmer switches or anything like that.
And they're fixed temperature. Like, do they sell variants with different temperatures?
These go from no, they just dim. All of these just dim.
I think they sell another version.
At some point, if they aren't available now, most of these are all relatively new products. They might go with cooler bulbs. My hunch is that people who want LED lighting and want cooler bulbs, their needs are pretty well served because that's pretty much all of the early LED bulbs.
Yeah.
The thing people want is the soft white light.
Something that can replicate the incandescent.
Something that looks like an incandescent. So I'm going to plug these in one at a time, show you what they look like. It's going to get a little blown out. This one is the Hue Lux. It's like I said, it's a 2700K bulb. All three of these are. This one I believe is 750 lumens and it's a 60 watt replacement. It's a really nice warm light. It's good for reading. I actually ended up putting this in my nightstand. So like it's my nighttime reading lamp. It's very pleasant. There's no flicker. The only knock against it is that the light mostly comes out of the top. Right. There's a little bit from the sides. It works okay with anything that has a diffuser, but you don't get a ton of light back here where this hand is. It's mostly on the sides and the top. So,
and it's also a little expensive for this type of product.
Yes,
$30 each.
It's very expensive. At $30, it's double the price of these other two bulbs. I think for certain rooms you're probably willing to pay that. I don't think it's necessary given the state of some of these other bulbs. Or
single lamps.
Yeah, single lamps are okay. They don't do a big giant like 6-pack or contractor pack or anything like that, which would be really nice. You're basically just stuck with the expensive $30 price for each one. And you do need the Hue hub to make them work, which is important.
Got it. So it's one of those things that if you already use the original Hue, and have the RGB lighting, and you wanted to add a few just warm ones, 2700K ones, that's what you get.
Totally a right way to go. You can use the Hue app. You can also use the Smart Things. Smart Things won't let you control the RGB on the original Hues, but it does let you control the dimming on all of them as well as the dimming on the Luxes.
That's right. And there are a lot of third-party apps as well.
Tons of third-party apps. The next light is the GE Link. This is, well, first off, let's look at the design of this guy. It's kind of weird. It's got this big glass dome on top. And
Jack Donaghy design.
It really is a Jack Donaghy design. When you flip it on, the first thing you'll notice is that the light, you'll be able to see this, but they might not be able to see it at home.
I can see a ring of LEDs.
It's really intense inside. Yeah. I wish that there was some sort of a softening diffuser on the top of this. I found this light to be really, really hard on my eyes. It is a 2700K bulb. This one is 800 lumens, another 60 watt equivalent. I found this to be the worst of the light that I used.
A mini arc reactor right there.
Yeah, it's really intense. It has this weird arc inside that doesn't seem to do anything. I don't know. Like I would have returned these bulbs if I had bought them for myself and not to test. This one ended up living in the outdoor light fixture in my backyard because it's fine for that. But I don't want it anywhere that I'm living. It's pretty uncomfortable. It does work with Smart Things. It works with Wink. I had to get the firmware updated on my Smart Things hub in order for it to connect. Once that happened, basically I sent a note to support. They said, hey, we'll push the update out. Should be ready tomorrow morning, and then it would pair. Although pairing this particular bulb, the early Link bulbs, you had to be very close to the hub. So I ended up dragging a lamp into the garage where the Smart Things hub is, pairing it that way. To pair all of these bulbs, once they've been paired the first time, you do a weird kind of on-off process.
Right, there's no button on
There's
there.
no buttons on the
pairing button.
There's nothing to press.
Yeah.
So you have to just turn them on and off in a short repetitive pattern. The best way to learn how to do this is to go to YouTube and look for somebody who's done that.
Yeah.
Usually it's like 6 on, 6 off, and then hold it on and it starts blinking, and then you know it's ready to pair.
I mean, that's one of the things with smart bulbs. These are all connected bulbs. There's a
radio inside. Yeah. These I think are all Zigbee devices actually. The Link might be Z-Wave. I can't remember. The Cree bulb. No, the Cree bulb is Zigbee as well. So this last one is the Cree connected bulb. It's brand new. It's a 60 watt equivalent. I can't find the power switch here. There we go. This one has a weird kind of plastic shell, but I actually quite like the light that it gives off.
It looks more like a traditional incandescent.
You get the same...
illuminates the bottom.
Exactly. The same range, like full 270-degree swoop of light that you get with a traditional incandescent. It doesn't get super hot, which is nice. Some of these, the Link especially gets crazy hot. And it's $15. So you're paying basically a $5 premium over a good LED bulb
which Cree makes.
Which Cree makes, and you're getting the same kind of quality light in a smart bulb. So I ended up using this in my living room. At the time I set it up, I needed a custom app for the SmartThings hub in order to get it to connect. Now it's just supported out of the box. You go through a normal pairing process and they fully support it. I still think the construction's super weird, but everywhere I'm using these, it's in either a lamp or an overhead light, so it's no big deal. And like all the others, it turns on and off when you flip the switch a couple of times, even if you don't do it. You can get both the Cree bulb and the GE Link at Home Depot for $15. You have to be careful when you're buying them on Amazon because third-party sellers do buy them for cheap and then sell them for massive markups because they are in high demand and Amazon can't keep them in stock right now. So, and
we were talking about when you want to buy, an LED bulb or a smart bulb, replace them one at a time. Like wait till it's an easy way to not have to buy them all at once. When one bulb goes out, then you buy it.
I think that's a good strategy. With the smart bulbs, like obviously, if you're rolling out motion sensors and stuff in your house, there's really only a reason to put these in if you have a motion sensor in the room. Like the ideal is that you want these to turn on when you walk into the room, turn off when you go out, and not have your lights, ever have to think about your lights.
And big shared living spaces make less sense. Private rooms, offices make more sense.
Start with the small rooms, finish with the big rooms is my general recommendation. The other place that they're super useful, especially if you have a SmartThings or a Wink hub that does presence detection, is you can put them in your entry lights. So the light by your front door, the light by the back door, whichever, or maybe in your garage, wherever you're coming in and out of the house. And that way, when you come in from being away at night, the lights will be on and you never have to think about it. And it's much more reliable than motion sensors in my experience. So those are the 3 smart bulbs. I really like this Cree bulb. It's $15. You can get it on Amazon. The Lux is a great, more expensive option. I think the light from the Lux is actually a little bit better than the Cree bulb, but they're both totally acceptable.
And easier to swallow if you already are bought into the Hue system.
If you've already bought into the Hue ecosystem, it makes a ton more sense.
All right, so what next?
So next up is this guy right here. This is the Logitech Harmony Remote Ultimate Home. Harmony Ultimate Home Remote.
Woo.
It's a lot of words. It's basically the same remote as the Logitech Harmony Ultimate from a couple years ago. We tested it early in the days of the site.
Yeah, it's a great home theater remote. Universal remote taps the system. The software's gotten better over time to program that stuff. But this one now also taps into smart home.
So yeah, first we should talk about what makes the Harmony Remote special and that's that they work based on activities. So instead of saying, hey, put my TV on input 1 and my receiver on input TV/DBS, you just say, I want to watch TiVo, and it knows that TiVo's on this input and this input. It gets the sound and all the volume and all that stuff right. And you basically just hit a button. Well, it's not connected to the hub because I'm here.
Right.
You basically just hit a button that says, hey, watch TiVo. And it goes to watch TiVo.
And not only does it know the sequence of events and things that need to be turned on, when you change from one activity to another activity, it knows to turn off certain things and turn on certain things.
So it'll maintain the state. It connects to everything. Xbox, Wii U, kind of the PS4. That's a little bit janky right now.
Might need the IR blaster or some type of blaster for that.
There's no good way to do that right now, which is dumb since the PS4 has now been out for 2 years or a year and a half. But yeah, the nice thing is it manages the state so that when you have, say, a babysitter or your parents come to visit or something like that and they want to watch Fox News, they can find it and they can work the TV. Yeah. It's very simple. The Ultimate adds the ability to connect to things like SmartThings and other home automation hubs. So in addition to the normal, hey, I can turn on the TV, now you can also adjust the lights, and they are all tied into those activities. So, for example, I have a bunch of smart bulbs in my living room. When I hit the Watch Movies preset, it dims everything down to 10%. If I had motorized shades, I could turn those off, lock the doors, all the stuff that you want to do, turn off all the extra lights in the house, so you have a nice dark movie watching experience. If you have, say, a Philips Hue setup, and you have some bulbs that are colored bulbs or like the RGB LED strips that go behind your TV to give like a nice backsplash light, you can set different color backsplashes for different lights. It's a little bit precious, that stuff, but actually the backsplash light's nice, and we use it in our house to indicate what's on right now. So if the Xbox is on, it's green. If the PlayStation's on, it's a little bit blue. If the TiVo's on, it's orange. You pick the colors that you think are appropriate for that.
And this is just a Wi-Fi connection to your home network, or is it directly connected?
So this uses the heart of this thing is the Harmony Hub. It's a little like Apple TV size puck that lives in your entertainment center that has IR blasters in it, and that you can connect external IR blasters to. It connects to the remote over a 2.4 gigahertz radio signal, so it doesn't have to have line of sight to the remote, which is really nice. You can, if you have a projector in your ceiling, you can hide all of your stuff in a closet somewhere off to the side. Still use the same remote to control it. The
hub's been out for a while.
The hub's been out for 2 or 3 years. It shipped with the original Harmony Ultimate. All of the Harmony Ultimate remotes can be upgraded to have the home functionality. You have to pay a few dollars for an upgrade using the app on your phone, and then it'll replace the firmware or something, and you'll get the ability to connect to SmartThings and some of the other home automation stuff.
Is it a cheap app or expensive app?
The app is free. I don't know how much the upgrade costs because I can't do it since I have the the home version.
Okay.
I would assume it would be $5 or $10. If it's more than that, I would be shocked.
Right.
The knock against this is that it's a one-way connection. So I can control SmartThings from the Harmony, but SmartThings can't control the stuff that's connected to the Harmony. So, for example, when I leave the house, if my wife or kid leaves the TV on, I would like, when the house goes into away mode and turns off all the lights, to also make sure that the TV and the stereo and all the stuff that's connected to that is turned off. There's no way to do that currently. And it's unclear whether that's a SmartThings limitation or a Harmony automation limitation, or somewhere in the APIs that the two devices share. Same thing for bedtime. You can't turn off the Harmony stuff at bedtime. It's really just a value add for the home theater room. Like, you don't want to hook up all of the smart house to the remote. You just want to have the stuff that's in the room that the TV is in, most likely. There's also a few weird limitations about the Harmony software at this point. There's a limitation to the maximum number of devices you can connect in the home theater. It's fairly liberal, but still, for the price of this device, I feel like you should be able to connect as much stuff as you want to it.
So that's not number of activities. That's just like per activity, or like you can't connect 30 different things.
It's if you have more than the supported number of devices, then you can't add another device.
Do you think it's limited by the hub's ability to blast out?
I think it's just an arbitrary decision because they wanted to segregate products based on capabilities, and somebody's like, well, maybe the expensive one should connect to 12 things and the cheap one should connect to 8. I mean, probably there's market research that says the kind of person in the market for a $90 remote is only going to have 3 things. I still think it's dumb, and you shouldn't have that for a device this expensive. The Harmony Hub connects to the SmartThings or the PEQ or whichever of the connected home hubs you're using, home automation hubs you're using, over your local LAN. So the Harmony Ultimate Hub doesn't have a Zigbee or Z-Wave radio, nothing like that. It literally is just using the SmartThings API, the PQ API, and connecting to that over the.
And that could be one of the reasons why there's no signal back.
It's possible, but it's possible that somebody's API is only one way. Still, it's kind of a bummer. I would like when I'm paying as much as this thing costs, I want it to do everything I can imagine and more, not half of the things that you can imagine. So that's it. The hub also has a lot of the same functionality on its own. It's $99, which is reasonable. You can use your phone or tablet to control the hub. I find that the phone and tablet control is kind of unwieldy. I like to have physical buttons on a remote. So I don't think I would recommend that. There's an intermediate remote that's not quite as expensive as this one, but still probably more expensive than it should be. And then this guy with the touch screen costs $350 with the hub, which is crazy expensive.
Yeah.
Like this should be a $200 device at most.
All in.
All in, everything you need.
With no limitations on connected devices.
Exactly. Yeah. Like if it was $200, I would recommend, literally tell everyone I know that has a TV connected to a receiver to buy one of these, because it makes it incredibly easy to use.
Does it have a replaceable battery?
It does have a replaceable battery. You have to send it off though. So
okay,
yeah. The nice thing about Logitech, I've been using Harmony remotes for 10 years now. When one breaks, they're really good about fixing it, even if it's out of warranty. So you are paying a premium. They have fixed, without knowing that I'm a person who reviews stuff for a living. Products that I bought, I've called support when they're 2 years out of warranty, and they've said, oh, well, we'll just send you a new one if you dropped it and it broke.
I'm totally gonna do that because people have spilled beer on my Logitech remotes.
Well, don't say, hey, they spilled beer. Just be
on
like,
the internet. I mean,
it just stopped working.
It just stopped working.
No one spilled beer.
Certainly not blank and so-and-so.
No, not any of your roommates, the beer drinkers. One more thing.
One more thing.
This isn't a super exciting one more thing, but it's neat. This is the Yale Real Living Deadbolt. It's a smart lock.
Smart what?
It's a smart lock, Norm. It's an internet-connected lock for your house. Actually, it's not internet-connected. It's Z-Wave connected. But it still connects to the internet through some other stuff, proxies, etc. It has a normal knob on the back.
Okay.
So all of the normal hardware is on the back. You can twist this to lock or unlock it. It's not the kind of deadbolt that only works with a key on both sides, so you probably don't want to put this on a glass door or something like that. It makes sounds, and then there's a keypad on the front. So first, it's a keypad lock.
Ooh, yeah, that's high tech.
It has, let's see if I can do this backwards. Oh, there we go. Okay, so when you put in your code, it's 2222 right now.
2222.
Yeah, it unlocks. That's the master code for the lock. The lock stores up to 101 codes, the master code, and 100 other user codes. So you could give a code to each person in your house, as well as people who need occasional access to your house, like your cleaning lady or your construction guy or electrician who comes in to work on stuff.
Then because it's connected, can you set time frames for when those codes unlock?
So if you connect it to something like SmartThings or the Wink Hub or something like that, then yes, you can absolutely do that.
That's very useful.
And if you can get your cleaning lady to A, have a smartphone, and B, install the app on it and give you her login, you can set her up as a user of your house. So when she pulls up to the house, the door will just unlock automatically for her. It'll send you a notification that says, hey, cleaning lady's here. And then, it'll turn on the lights when she moves in the room and act like somebody is in the house.
And you can track. So
yeah, of course, once it's connected to the hub. Now, on its own, it doesn't do any of that stuff. It's just it's essentially no different from a mechanical push-button lock until you connect it to SmartThings or Wink or something like that.
Right.
You can disable and enable the user codes. You can set the lock to only work for the master code. So when I had to set up at my house, I only used the master code to set up other codes. And I didn't have any other, I didn't use the master code on a day-to-day basis. I used a user code that I'd set up for myself so that there wasn't a situation where somebody was looking with a telescope to see what my code was and then get in the house at any time.
No one does that well.
I don't think so either, but paranoia reigns supreme when you're talking about putting the lock on the house.
I can see where your fingerprints have been hitting.
You gotta get it all smudged.
Yeah.
There we go. I like that you kind of just wave your hand over it to lock it. I think you're actually supposed to push the check mark, but my experience, you just kind of jam your finger on it.
Or the code's only four digits?
You can go up to 8, I think. So 4 digits seem to be, when discussing it with my wife, 4 digits was the number of numbers that we wanted to remember.
That's how the brain works, chunking.
Yeah. 4 is an easy number to remember, ATM pins and all that stuff. It has audible alerts to let you know things like somebody's outside trying to jimmy the lock or your batteries are almost dead. It uses 4 AA batteries. There's models that have both key and no key on the front. This one doesn't have a key, obviously, on the front. So if the battery runs down, say you put this on a vacation house or something like that, you get to the house, the battery's dead. There's 2 prongs right up under here that you jam a 9-volt battery into, and that'll give it enough juice to open so you can get inside and change the batteries. I think, I'm not exactly sure how I feel about smart locks at this point. It's nice.
It looks pretty big, chunky at the other side too.
It's not attractive at all.
If it's for a door, not for a gate.
Yeah, this replaces the deadbolt on your front door, or back door, or garage door. If I had direct entry from into my house from the garage, I might actually put this on there because that seems like it would be a good way to give people keyless entry to the house without making it completely open to the world. I wouldn't put it on my front door. I don't particularly like the styling on this thing. It's kind of an ugly lock. The brush. It comes in 3 finishes. This is the brushed nickel. It's not super attractive having the big touchscreen. I think I'd rather have one that has no buttons and just works on proximity and stuff like that. It has a keyhole.
$200?
$200. It works with Z-Wave hubs, which is kind of almost everything that's out there right now.
And so while the other things we talked about today was SmartThings compatible, this is
also SmartThings compatible. And really the reason to get this is that you're gonna, like the light bulbs, if you're not gonna hook it up to SmartThings, just buy a much cheaper lock that has a touchpad. The SmartThings compatibility means that, for example, when SmartThings knows that you're coming up to your house, it will turn on the front light and unlock the door for you. It's kind of nice, except for, I don't know about you, but my bottom knob also has a lock. So it's kind of,
Yep.
It's not super useful. $200 is kind of expensive when you compare it to like those contractor packs of 3 deadbolts that aren't very good. When you compare it to like the fancy nickel finished deadbolts for your front door, it's maybe $50 more expensive, $100 more expensive.
It'll give you a sense of what a smart deadbolt can do.
Yeah, I wanted to see what it was. You know, the interesting thing to me is that my wife immediately rejected this. She, you know, there are security concerns with, you know, locks are to dissuade, not to prevent. You know, they're an impedance. They're not. Every lock that you can put on your door is pickable by someone, or 30 seconds with a crowbar, and you'll have the door open in most cases. So it's not going to keep people out. This is open to a whole other realm of security problems.
It tells them that you got money to spend on $200 smart lock.
There is that as well. And you know, as with all of this stuff, the security for your overall system is only as good as the worst password that you have hooked up to all of the stuff that you have connected to it. So if your Harmony password is no good, then somebody can hack that account, open up your remote from afar, your door from afar, and like, I don't think I want that. I'm happy just having lights turn on and off right now. So
rotating passwords every 2 weeks.
That's crazy talk, but do a good 16-character password for this stuff. So that's it. That's the state of home automation.
The smart bulbs are the most interesting stuff. I think the big recommendation is the Cree.
This guy. Yeah, it's the Cree connected bulb.
$15.
60 watt replacement, 2700K soft white bulb. I like don't. It looks cheap. I mean, you see what you think.
Yeah, it feels cheap.
Looks great. It makes great light. If you want to get something that's more expensive, or you've already bought into the Philips Hue stuff, the Hue is a really nice looking bulb as well. I would avoid these GE Link bulbs. I hope that at the same price point they'll fix the problems with it at some point in the future and make something that you actually want to use. I'm happy putting this in the light that lights my back porch at night. So, so that's it. State of the smart home for right now. Spring of 2015. 2015.
It's 2015.
Wow.
Almost spring. We'll see you guys. See you guys soon on the video. Bye.